Good morning. Good morning. So, we've been talking about the concept of philosophy in general. And I've been taking the time to add in a lot of different things that I consider key points in this philosophy of free will. It's basically what it is, right? It is a philosophy of free will and my observations on following said philosophy and the ideas that have came forth from said philosophy. Right? Right. Right. And so the problem with this philosophy, because there's a problem with it. I saw it this morning. Uh, It's the idea of reward and punishment that people keep associating with free will. I don't understand. Like, you get that you have to punish yourself and you have to reward yourself. That's what my philosophy states: is that you yourself, acting in your best interest and the interest of humanity, will experience things that make you smile. That's the top of the expectation, that you may smile from the things you encounter from living your life this way. You also incur terrible fucking penalties all the way across the board as the world tries to get you to not believe in yourself. Free will is the belief of self. So I'm like taken aback because I thought like it was blatantly obvious that this kind of mindset, that this experience that we're having is infinite, that your ability to manifest and create things that I've never seen and to bring new ideas to the world was an absolute truth. And like, I thought just a lack of, you could fix that, I'd be pretty good, right? And then I realized that like there's more to it. Ugh. And not only do we have to destroy the concept of not being perfect in our imperfections, and not that we have to have a certain amount of time to become the best version of ourselves. That's not entirely possible instantaneously, and then just takes a lot of experience to make it a constant truth in our lives. If today I decide that I'm not going to yell at people anymore, and I don't yell at people anymore, today was the first day that I experienced me as a person not yelling at people anymore. It doesn't matter if I screamed at everybody yesterday. If I decide today to start living my life a different way, I do. That's how it works. And you just practice. Like anything else, like riding a bike. I'm going to practice being happy. But then I was listening. I keep telling myself I just need to quit watching anything. I just need to turn off all electronics and like tap in, make a video, and just ignore the whole world. And then, of course, you know me, I glutton for punishment. I got to know, so I got to look. So I just start scrolling. And the very first video I click on, someone that I consider a positive person, someone I consider not a dark worker, I consider a light worker. I can see their energy. I understand where they're coming from on their message. But even their message is talking about the gifts you receive and being able to have anything, to be rich, to find the love of your life, to this and that and the other thing. And I had to think about it a lot. Like, how does that fit into the philosophy? How does that fit in? And I got like this artist mindset, right? I have a philosopher's point of view. I don't think about what's valuable, I guess, the same way. I don't know how else to put that. And so listening to people that like have a positive message, but in the message is the hooks of time and reward, that's not timeless. It's a man-made construct. It's the idea you don't have enough already, that you're not perfectly imperfect just as you are. The idea that you have a better view for somebody else than they themselves have for their own life. Now, I might talk to you about philosophy, but I repeatedly try to say every video not to follow me. This is just my opinion. I don't know if I'm right about anything. I'd love some feedback. Like, that's the overall disclaimer. This is philosophy. But it's weird to me that the second you go towards being gifted or chosen or balanced, I don't know, pick your word, it don't matter. They're all the same to me. It's all the same trying to define something you can't understand. And like, if you had all the powers in the world, you'd want $1,000,000. If you could affect anything, you'd want to affect your own life for creature comforts. I just want to understand. I'm not checking you directly, and I don't know if the person I watch their video, if they even watch my videos, it's irrelevant. But like, here's the question: like, you really think that like having a bunch of money would make you happy, or that if somebody loved you, you'd finally be worth love? Like, what the fuck? The love of my life is myself. How, in any way, shape, or form, do I need external validation to be rich or happy or in love? What's the philosophy behind that? It can't be truth, because if it's something's true, then everybody agrees that it's true. You can't have a personal truth that's universal truth if someone can fucking live a different way and show that it's not true. That's what it is. What it is. You can't. You can't rationalize absolute truth. You have to break it back down into a personal truth. So I was like, am I the one that's off, maybe? Because listen, immediately thinking I'm right, fuck no. The second I hear something that's different than what I think, I immediately like have all these things that's got to go into to see if it fucking fits and if I need to change anything or not. So I was like, is not having enough money make me less of a person? Nope. No, I'm pretty much me. And money has nothing to do with it because I've never had any. What about the love of my life? I've never been loved right. I've never been in a long-term loving relationship. That's true. I've never experienced that experience. I've had a bunch of bad experiences. That's true. But I won't be happy if I don't experience someone else loving me imperfectly based on how they view the world. Like, somehow I have to have that to what? Be a good human? I tried really hard. I was like, because I've never had love returned to me in the way that I always give it out, that somehow I should want that. That the point of life is to be loved imperfectly by somebody you can never really get to know that well. And then this message went together. It wasn't just one or the other. It was like a whole list of things and reasons of what you could do if you were chosen or had powers or were blessed and loved by God. And I just thought to myself, I was like, how can you talk to yourself? And that's the conversation. Not I want to see world hunger end. Not that I want to see governments collapse. Not that I want to see a whole new golden age, and I'm thinking about that. It's really been the overall collective's message from what I've seen, and I'm sure I'm just seeing a fraction of a little piece of nothing, right? The algorithm's got me trapped somewhere. But everybody's message is the same thing. I have a lack, and if I could get over in any way, even if it's to be a fucking child of God, I'd be rich and in love. I don't know. I don't know. I've never met anybody that had a bunch of money and was happy. They do cool things, but they're not really happy. And it's not really their money. And the more you have, the more you got to give back every year. It's not that I don't like money, but I'd have to learn how to do taxes if I had a bunch of money. You know, people would expect things from me based on not who I am, but that I had money. The very concept of the thing that holds you all as slaves. And if you got ahead somehow, you'd want a bunch of it. How you think that you deserve a counterpart. So if you're doing so good, you should get to be loved. That somehow that's how it is. And there's only one person, right? There's not that you could fall in love with literally anybody if your perceptions change. No, that the love of your life must be out there somewhere. And you yourself are not that actuality of love. It's weird to me. It really is. And I don't know how to express to you that, like, for me personally, for my own journey, I've always had enough. I've always had a lot. I've never had a lot, but I've always had enough. And sometimes I've only had enough to take the next step only. If I was like, had the balls to do it. But nothing I've ever done in my life worth doing, I did it with money. And since I'm now 41 years old, and none of you can ever say I was rich. Ever. Not even enough to buy a new car rich. Not even enough to buy a used new car rich. Not even enough to buy a trailer. Not enough to buy an RV. Like, never. Why would I need money now? I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm missing the point. I couldn't grasp the message. It sounded like everybody keeps talking from a place of lack. That the idea that what you own is who you are, or who loves you is how much you're loved. It sure seems backwards to me against my philosophy. It sure seems like outward validation instead of inward guidance. It sure sounds like the need to have something that's irrelevant. I need to have paper backed by oil. I need to have a piece of property that I have to make enough money every year to even pay the taxes on, or they're just going to take it. And I could just sell the property and have the money, but they're slowly going to tax the money that I made off the sale. It's this concept of like, I need. I need. In a lot of other countries, it's way more serious than here. In fact, anybody that says I need in the United States, I have a problem with it. I have a problem with it. We have so many programs to make sure that you can get food and clothes and hygiene and fucking clean needles if you need them. Like, there is no lack in America. Your social status and social structure based on how much of a lack you have is the only thing that they have for a sliding scale in America. But we have too much. We have too much of everything. We have duplicates of everything that you think is your favorite item in the world. Someone, your neighbor has it too. So maybe it's where I'm from, in the environment I grew up in, and knowing like I might not have much, but if I don't have anything, they'll give me food stamps. And if I don't get high, I can probably, with a rational, sound, sober mind, be able to figure out how to get out of the rain and cold. And realistically, if you can be sober and you're not getting high, it's a lot easier to get into a mission too. It's really weird. And there's literally some really good people in the world that like do this in other countries because they understand that we don't have a lack in America at all. We have lazy people that expect more for doing nothing. They think that if they put in no work, that they're entitled to bleed all over the ground and be addicted to drugs, and that it's everyone else's fault that they won't heal. I mean, and we allow it. There's good people allow people to grow on their own. But the choices that are offered on the streets are violence or death, drugs or death, jail or death. They figured out that like once you get society down to that level, not only you can control them, but you can make a lot of money off them. So why fix them? Why give them better options? That's how much we have extra in the United States. We have so much extra that we use people for money. Even though we print the United States dollar. So this idea of needing more, of not having enough. I have nothing and I feel like I'm rich. But I feel like if I wanted to, I could start hitchhiking and go anywhere I wanted in the world. And I'd figure out how to get there. And I feel like if I needed to do whatever it was or meet the love of my life, I'd probably find her broken homeless on the streets. I'd probably find somebody that cared because they didn't have anything either. Not because they had so much. And I'm still under the assumption that everyone's beautiful and I could love anyone. And so the concept of the love of my life could be right around the corner when I go down to get some chocolate milk. It's this idea of needing to be somewhere else, have more, do more, experience something different. It's really weird to me. I don't know how to like connect with you guys on it. I don't understand like I don't understand this need for something you can't take with you when you die. I feel rich as fuck because I'm playing in an experiment of who knows what, or a video game, or God's playground, purgatory, hell, heaven. It doesn't matter where you're from, what side of the street you live on, what corner you claim. They're all just corners to me. And like, no matter how much you have, you have to spend part of your experience maintaining it. And you have to give away some of your power to keep it. Like, if I became rich because somebody gave me a bunch of money, and they'd have hooks in that, there'd be obligations that they thought they were entitled to based on the fact that they gave an energy exchange, and their energy exchange, what they want for the shit ass fucking paper they want to give you. The idea that somehow, shape, or form that I would let any string be attached to me for any reason other than to let somebody fucking hang themselves with it. And there's one thing that I am sure of. God's not going to show up and give me money. I don't think God believes in money. I'm sorry. I don't really care. I don't think God believes in money. I don't think so. In fact, if we get right down to it, I would consider anything holy or whatever, that whole ball, because we're not even doing theology this morning. I would think the fact that all of you sacrifice your lives for dead pieces of trees would probably be an abomination in the eyes of the Lord. In fact, the idea that you use dead things to quantify your worth and how many dead things you have to quantify your worth. Oh, man. Oh, man. The fact that you listen to somebody else who has more dead things than you tell you how to have your experience because they own more dead things. I got a tarot deck. Did you guys know I do tarot? It's interesting, right? Got my own tarot deck. I never even look at it. Because I believe that you can look in different ways into weird views of things and gain reflection that may serve some kind of purpose later in your life. Not that it's guiding or anything else, just a cool idea to think about. But like, I don't have 10 decks, and I don't have, 20 amulets, and I don't have anything. But I could do the same thing that the people on the screen could do. So how come I can do the same thing they can do if I'm broke? How come I feel blessed and loved all the time and I'm the only person in my life? How come I'm so content and happy with what I have if you say I need to have more? If I'm supposed to have more, I'll have more. You know what I would do with a bunch of money? I would figure out ways to spend it on other people. So who's going to give a guy like that money in the first place anyway? Why would you donate everything you thought you believed in and it's the accumulation of dead things, and then give the dead things away to a live person to use for life? Why would you transmute the energy? Why wouldn't you just keep your dead things in the bank? You see? So it's not even that, like, you can't manifest anything. You better be goddamn sure you know what you're manifesting before you do. It's just my opinion. I don't care what you do. You can live your life however you want. It's called free will. But you might want to rethink your philosophies on that one. Because I've been thinking about mine, and it's not that I don't believe you can use money as a tool. It's acceptable right now as the current exchange, but I could do it with gold. I could go get silver and pay for things, couldn't I? I could go get some other currency than US dollar and pay for things, couldn't I? I could go and trade my neighbor building his fence for a hot meal if I needed it, couldn't I? So I can agree that money is absolutely a thing. It's real. People use it. I can't agree that I need more of it. I can't agree that your sense of comfort that you need in your life matches how I feel about it. I don't know how else to explain that to you. I don't know how else to describe to you that, like, the ideas behind why you do everything makes me fucking sick in my soul. If that triggered you, I don't care. I'm allowed to have my opinion. I'm allowed to look at the social construct we call society that's based on money and think it's a bad thing. And think that every last one of you are hurt on the daily because of it. I fucking know it to be true. You can't argue that part. You can only continue to splurt out and fucking throw up the things that you've been taught about capitalism since you were fucking born. And not one of you, if I drop you over in fucking Africa right now, would make it. You would not fucking make it. You have no clue how to live off of land, do you? And I'm not being rude. I'm not saying run out and become a survivalist. My point is right outside what you think is truth is the rest of the world. And if the rest of the world doesn't live like you do, then it's a fucking personal truth. It's not a universal truth. Money is not a universal truth. Helping one another is a universal truth. Being paid to help somebody else is not a universal truth. It's a personal truth that you learn based on how do I have a very comfortable life. It's your view of what comfort is itself that I'm arguing with. Does everybody want to be indoors and warm and have food? Fuck yeah, dude. Except that cowboy that don't want to get off his horse or come in out the range. Except that fisherman that lives on his boat. Except all those kids that don't have a mom anymore and they're feeding each other out of a garbage can in fucking Kenya. It just like you just keep going. Like so I guess I just wanted to throw out my own personal view. It's not yours. You don't have to hang on to it. You can say it's self-destructive. I'm okay with all your reflections. If any of you were fucking have the balls to reflect, it's really weird having so many views and no comments. Really weird. But what I don't see is a lack of in my life. I don't see it. My life is a reflection of not having a lack in my life. When I get money, I spend it on other people. I find joy, and the more money there is, the more people I spend it on. It's always been the MO. I've never stopped doing that, and I probably never will because it's like my superpower. You try to use me, but all I have I've already given away. What are you going to use? Me as a human being? Good luck. I'm smarter than you. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I just am. I'm not even trying to be a dick. I've studied more. I've read more books. I spent more time in the streets talking shit back and forth. You're not winning this one. That's how I feel about it. Period. Like, so if you can't outthink me, how can you be richer than me? If you're not willing to do the self work and the shadow work and go within and accept who you really are, how are you going to tell me that I'm on the wrong path when you still are literally living in a bubble of lies? The United States is a lie of what the world is. The rest of the world does not reflect the United States, and therefore all the people within the United States have an obscure reflection of what life really is. I wonder how it is in other countries. Mexico is weird. Canada is about the same as the United States. They won't let me off the continent. Someday I'm going to get a boat and leave anyway. It's not illegal to be in international waters. I'm going to go see the world probably about the time my kids are old enough to do so. We're going to get on a boat. I'm going to put tackle on there. And we're going to live off the sea. I'm going to visit other lands. I'm going to take my vacations. I'm going to see the things that I've never seen before. And I'm going to touch all 7 continents. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with a fucking sailboat. So if like I see my life as this positive, wonderful thing that's full of all the things that I've put in it, and I find contentment in having so much, if more comes into my life, it makes my cup overflow. It always has. And every time it happens, I immediately know that I have an overflowing cup because someone else needs help. I don't need help. I don't need anything. What do you mean I need stuff? What do I need? What am I missing? So this is where the abundance comes in. I think that's the manifestation of abundance is understanding that if you had any more, you couldn't hold it and you'd have to go give it away. And that's what I look at every time like I have more. Fuck, I can help somebody. And I don't know. I don't know if that helps. I don't know if I sound crazy for speaking this way. I'm not really sure. I've never looked at the world the same way. I've never looked at it as I've never looked at it like anybody else had a cool idea that I wanted to follow. That's the best way to put that. Like, I don't care. Oh, you think that's cool over there and you own these things? So what? Okay. You know? And here's the kicker. Here's the real kicker. I'm going to leave this to you guys. Something to think about. If everything's made in a factory at this point, except a few small artesian niches, if everything's built at a factory at this point, then that means that there's a way, probably on YouTube, to figure out how to make anything it is you want if you put the time and effort into doing so. Anything from a watch spring to a car to an airplane, no matter what, if you're willing to take the time to educate yourself, you can have anything in this world. There's nothing you can't make yourself. So, is it a lack of money or is it a lack of self love? You got to ask yourself that.